From fun in the sun to business in the cage, it's time for baseball for the first of a home and home between the Wareham Gatemen and the Cotuit Kettleers. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Kettle Talk, the official pregame show of the Cotuit Kettleers. I'm Jon Perez. The Kettleers are coming off their most impressive win of the season and good all-around effort. Let's just look at the checklist. Solid pitching? Check. Timely hitting? Check. Clean fielding? Check. The Kettleers did all three of those things in their win against Chatham, and with that said, let's take a look at the highlights. Chatham makes its first trip of the year to Cotuit to take on the Kettleers. Cal Becker from Sonoma State goes for the Kettleers. Nick Meservey from Seattle goes for the Anglers. Top of the first inning, Becker in some trouble with runners on first and second. Becker gets Donovan Casey to hit into a double play. DJ Artis would end up at third with 2 outs. The next batter, Pat Mathis, hits a dribble to first. Genesis scoops it up, feeds Becker at first, and the threat is over. Top 3, the double steal is on. Jake Palomaki hits one in the hole. John Aiello scores, 1-0 Chatham. Bottom half of the inning, Cal Stevenson at the plate. Meservey throws a wild pitch. It skips past Gunnar Troutwire of Wichita State. Fellow shocker Grayson Genesta crosses the plate to tie the game at 1. Top 4 with runners on the corners. John Aiello hits a grounder to first. Genesta fires to second, but Connor Simmons doesn't cover. A run comes in, 2-1 Angler. Bottom 5 with the bases jacked. Alonzo Jones shows everyone that he shops at the gap. He ropes a ball into right center field. Everyone in pinstripe scores. Jones to third. Kettleers up 4-2. Next batter, Tim Susnera up at the plate. Alonzo Jones comes in to score off the wild pitch. 5-2 Cotuit. Later in that inning, Pat Dorian skips a ball in the hole. Ryan Hagan from Mercer comes in to score. 6-2 Cotuit. Bottom of the 7th, with Genesta on at first, Jackson Klein at the plate, and the Stanford Jr. puts this one into orbit, his first home run of the year, and it gives Cotuit an 8-2 lead. Ryan Rigby from Mississippi State would close this one out. The Kettleers end a 2-game skid and beat Chatham 8-2.
First pitch, I got a fastball and down and in. I feel like I just missed it, fouled it off. Kind of came back with the same type pitch, and luckily came through and drove it in the gap. So it's a great feeling. I feel like I was kind of due for one of those, and we just had a lot of guys come through today. I mean, Cal Stevenson had a really big at bat right before that. Had a chance to bunt him over, and he stuck through that bat and got on base and gave me an opportunity. So, yeah. I mean, I definitely want to play on both sides, and I feel like I'm an infielder. So, I mean, I've got some reps out there, but hopefully I have more to come. So. Yeah, it's always nice to come through and kind of have that lead to where you don't have to panic in the 9th. But I mean, I feel like we've been steadily improving the way we play the game, and it's starting to show up result-wise, so that's always nice.
Well, you always hope you get one. In this league, you never know. They had a young man started the game. He's got a pretty good arm from Seattle. But, again, everybody sometimes breaks a game open. And, we have not had a lot of what I call clutch hits, but Alonzo gave us a clutch hit and gave us a chance to open it up. And then we got a couple other base hits. But, today's probably the first day we've combined hitting and pitching and reasonable defense and a little bit of base running. We're hoping to, we've got nothing to lose by running the bases more like I like to do. But when you're always behind like we were early, it's tough to run the bases. But we're going to try to run the bases quite a bit more.
So here are the scores from Wednesday night. Yarmouth Dennis over Bourne 4-1. Will Gaddis from Furman was exceptional. 8 shutout innings, only 3 hits. He struck out 6. Deion Stafford Jr. from St. Joe's in Philly went 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs. There was no pitching in the Brewster-Hyannis game. The Whitecaps had a 10-3 lead after 2 innings and held on to win 13-10. Nicholas Dunn from Maryland, 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs. Logan Warmouth from North Carolina hit his 3rd home run of the year, a 3-run shot. Ryan Noda hit a home run as well, home run number 5. Orleans outpitched Harwich and won 4-1. The Firebirds used 6 different pitchers to piece together the victory, and the bullpen threw 4 2/3 of shutout ball, only allowing 2 hits and striking out 7, but more importantly, no walks. Zach Kirtley from St. Mary's hit a 2-run homer, his 2nd of the year. A lot of talk has been about the Harwich pitching staff, and deservedly so, but Falmouth can pitch with anyone. The Commodores beat Wareham 4-0 at Spillane Field on Wednesday. Jake Bird from UCLA, 2nd time this season, he threw 6 shutout innings. In his first start of the season, he didn't allow a hit against the Whitey Red Sox. So here are the standings. Harwich in first, Orleans and Brewster tied for second, Chatham and YD both under 500. In the West, Bourne on top of Wareham by a game and a half. Falmouth, the only other team above 500. Hyannis had its 2-game winning streak snapped, and Cotuit still 4 games behind the Harbor Hawks. Here with the son of Cotuit manager Mike Roberts, Brian Roberts, who might have known, played 14 years in the major leagues with the Baltimore Orioles and the New York Yankees. Also played with the Chatham A's, and you came in the other day, had an opportunity to speak to Coach Schiffner, who's been around for a long time. What are some memories that you've had playing at Chatham?
A lot of great memories. I mean, the Cape is a special experience, for everybody that is blessed to have the opportunity to do it, and I was no different. I love Chatham. To see Schiffa still over there after 24 years, I think he told me, is pretty amazing. And we won the championship in '98, and it was a lot of fun. We were kind of reminiscing about facing Ben Sheets and Barry Zito in the finals against Wareham, and that's the kind of talent and the kind of caliber of players you're playing against, and it really kind of draws the best out of everybody. It's a great experience.
You're on the other side of this now, I guess sort of as a special coach for today, just speaking to the players about base running and just going through the ringer of getting to the major leagues. So what are a couple of constants that you've seen that players today have come up and asked you about and that you've been able to shed onto them?
Well, yeah, we did. We talked a lot about base running for a while, stealing bases, just being a good base runner, that sort of stuff. Then we talked a little bit about just the game in general and how do you get to where you want to be, which is the major leagues. Obviously, for most people, that's where they are, the end goal or what they want to try to shoot for. And we talked a lot about just kind of learning to deal with failure. This is a game of failure, and it's hard to deal with that sometimes. It's a game of adjustments, so you constantly have to make adjustments, and you're going to go from one place to the next, and you're going to have some failures, you're going to struggle, and then you're going to make those adjustments, you'll get better. And two, and it's just you have to be willing to outwork the guy beside you. And usually the hardest workers get the farthest, and so are you willing to make those sacrifices and that sort of thing to get to where you want to go?
I guess for you personally, I read somewhere that you said that you were burned out after your junior year of high school, still went through it, played for your dad, and then he wasn't there at UNC anymore. You transferred, and then obviously, in Team USA, you're behind somebody on the depth chart, and you continue to fight and to fight and to fight. So how did you keep your spirits up in where times looked dire, to be honest?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't real big in high school and weighed like 145, 150 pounds, and I did kind of get a little bit burned out at one point. My dad continued to try and at least urge me to keep going, and I was fortunate that he was a college coach at the time and had the opportunity to go play at North Carolina, and my interest peaked again pretty big time, probably about the summer before college, after my senior year, and then had some success, but also had some struggles and some things that you deal with, being behind maybe Adam Everett on the USA team or coming up to the Cape and hitting 230 or 240 and struggling. And but I also had a lot of success in the college level. So you kind of go, it's like a roller coaster, and you have to learn to deal with those things if you're going to continue to move forward. I think it's just something that everybody goes through, and it makes you better in the end if you can push through.
I guess individually, obviously being in the American League East for all those years, you had to deal with a lot of good pitchers that were good at holding on, particularly Andy Pettitte. And now I've heard through the grapevine he balked a couple of times, and I mean, it's up to you, to say whether you won or not. But, what was a success? What did you have to do to get a good jump off of a pitcher like that, or what went through, and what was your thought process when you were on base?
Yeah, there were a lot of really good veteran pitchers that were in the league, in the American League East when I was coming up, and Andy Pettitte, Mike Messina, Roger Clemens, all these guys that had been around a long time, and I learned a lot from them. I learned some through some failure and through some successes of learning how to get jumps and kind of playing the mind game with older guys that have been doing it for a long time. That's the great part about the game of baseball is how much you can learn from other people and watching other people and being around guys that have been doing it for a long time. It was a challenge, something that I think I'll always look back at and certainly enjoy competing against those kind of guys and what I did learn from them.
You're loved by Baltimore fans, and you were in the peak of the Red Sox and Yankee years. For yourself, how do you keep yourself focused and not want to leave Baltimore at that time? Because I'm sure it was testy, but you never publicly demanded a trade or anything like that. How do you keep yourself, down to earth and level to stay in Baltimore?
Well, they went through the ups and downs with me as well. The organization was great when when I got called up in 2001, from then till kind of 2003 or 4, I struggled going up and down to the minor leagues, and they kind of stuck with me and continued to give me the opportunities, and eventually traded Jerry Hairston and gave me the starting job. So yeah, I think loyalty is a big thing. My dad kind of always taught me that, my parents, my family. And the organization, the Angelos family, they were always just really good to me and my family. So I didn't have a desire to go anywhere else. I just had a desire to win more. And unfortunately, as you said, we kind of got caught up in the Red Sox and the Yankee era, and they had some really good teams in those times, and we lost more games than I would have liked. But I wouldn't trade the experience of being in one place for that long for anything, really.
And I guess just a couple more. You go to the Yankees. Derek Jeter's last year, obviously played against him all those years, but what is he like as a teammate that many people don't know, because he's kind of guarded in his own right?
He's funny. He's kind of a comedian, a clown. He really loves to be on the field. And I don't think I realized how much fun he has out there. A lot of times you just kind of see the serious Derek Jeter nature, but in spring training, in batting practice, and in the locker room, that's the kind of, you see the real personality come out, not necessarily the guarded one that you see some other times in public or maybe on the field. And he really just enjoys life. He enjoys being around the game, and he treats everyone with just the utmost respect. He's so humble for where his stature in the game is. It's really amazing.
And then I guess the last one with the Orioles. You weren't there in his heyday, but what was it like, I guess, taking some things from Cal Ripken Jr.?
Yeah, I had the fortunate opportunity for my rookie year to be Cal's last year. Kind of the same with Derek, and to experience both of those guys in their final season was something that I learned a lot from. The way they both handled it. Cal just handled himself so impeccably when it came to just dealing with fans, when it came to dealing with media, when it came to all the attention that he had. And then I think what I learned from both those guys is attention to detail. They do things by routine the same way every single day. They hit off the tee every day. They take their ground balls the same way every day. They don't take anything for granted just because they've been doing it for that long. That's how they got there, and that's how they always stayed there, was making sure that they stayed true to the fundamentals of the game.
Brian, it was a pleasure. That's Brian Robertson. Starting lineups coming up right after this.